Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is just going to be a video on how I do my everyday makeup. I get asked every day pretty much how I do my makeup. Actually, when I do my makeup, I get asked how I do my makeup because lately I have not been wearing makeup very often at all. But when I do my makeup, I get asked how I do it. So I figured it would be really awesome to have a channel so I can show people what I do. Sometimes it's easier for people to see what I do. Sometimes I say, oh, you should just go watch Jaclyn Hill's videos, or you should go watch so-and-so's videos. They're like, but we want to see how you do it. So I figured it would be a really cool idea for me to jump on here and try to show everyone how I do it. So Courtney, this is how I do my makeup. This is how I did your makeup. And if you have any questions, list them down in the comment box and I would be happy to help you. Anything that I use in this, you can use a different brand, you can use a different powder, you can use a different whatever you want. Anything that you have will work. I just use what I use because I found that all of these things work for me. So you use whatever you want to use. I'm sure anything that you have is perfectly fine. This is just how I do my everyday makeup, and I'm just showing you guys because you guys asked for it. So if you have any questions, again, leave them down in the comment box and I will answer them. What else was I gonna say? You get so nervous filming these things that you just forget what you're gonna say. What else was I gonna say? Well, if you want to see this look, just keep watching. Alright, so my face is moisturized. I did just wash it and moisturize it so that I could do this. First things first, after you wash your face and you moisturize, is you always use a primer. The one that I've been using lately is the Smashbox Primer Water. This is my favorite primer that I've ever used. I never go through a whole primer, even if it's just the small travel size. I never ever go through a whole primer, and this one I'm about halfway through with, so that must mean that I really like it. So you just spray that on your face. I probably spray a lot, I don't know. I just like it, it works for me. And next we move on to foundation. The foundation that I've been loving is actually a drugstore foundation. It's the Superstay Better Skin. It's Maybelline. Yeah. And I always use the lightest shade of every single foundation that I ever use. The only foundation that I've ever found that has one that's actually too light for me is the NARS Sheer Glow foundation, which I do love that foundation also, but the one I got is too light, so I just use that to mix in with other foundations that are too dark for me, which is like every foundation ever. So what I do is I use the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. It's my favorite. And the one thing I didn't put in front of me, MAC Fix Plus. I spray this on my sponge. It just helps my foundation lay better on my skin. That's my favorite way to apply it. So I just spray it a couple times onto my sponge, and then I just put pretty much a whole pump. It looks like I sprayed it twice, but that's just pretty much a whole pump. And I pull my foundation back, or my hair back from my base, and then I just start bouncing it on my skin. I do go under my eyes because I have really awful dark circles. A lot of people have trouble with that. They don't want their concealer or anything to crease, so they won't go under their eye. I will probably make the ugliest faces throughout this because I'm not used to this at all. Last time I filmed a video, I made the ugliest faces that I couldn't even. I was like, I'm not doing this. So refilming my first video because it looked ridiculous. So that pretty much covers about half of my face. And then I go back in with my MAC Fix Plus and I spray it twice again. Then I do another pump. Then I do the other half of my face. I make sure to go over every place a lot. Because when I first started doing my own makeup and every time I used a beauty blender, I was not blending it out enough. So I always make sure I do it a lot. And then I just take whatever's left and I blend that down my neck a little bit. This is really close to my skin tone. It pretty much matches perfectly. And then I'm going to do one more spray of Fix Plus. That ended up being 2, obviously. I did just pump more foundation on my sponge. Can't talk today to save my life. I did pump too much, so I'm just going to take a little bit off. Just spread it on there. So I just have a little bit more. And I just need to do my forehead now. I just gotta get a little bit closer to my mirror because obviously I don't have my glasses on and I am blind. Okay, that's better. Lesson number 1 from the first video I shot, close my mouth. So, you might see me with my mouth open and I'm going to very consciously close it. So after I have my foundation on, I move to my under eye concealer. What I've been using lately and I've been loving, and it's been working so well for me, because as you can see, my under eye circles are so bad. They're really bad. So I've been using the NYX HD concealer in the lightest shade that they had, Porcelain, I think. Let's double check that. Well, the top says CW01, but I could have sworn it said Porcelain somewhere. Yeah, CW01 Porcelain. It looks like this. Oh, drop my beauty sponge. There's that. And then I also go in with MAC Prep and Prime. I use Radiant Rose because I'm very pinky. I get very, very red. So when you see this, you're going to be like, this chick is crazy. She puts so much concealer under her eyes. But it just looks that way on camera. When you're in real life, it really doesn't. It doesn't look that bad. But I did notice it looks crazy in my last video. So I just put it pretty much in the corner and a little bit on top so that I can conceal. And this is actually pretty close to my skin tone. So I do use this to conceal other spots. So like on my chin gets pretty splotchy, and so does my nose. And this does have like a pinky tint to it, a kind of an orange pinky tint. So it does combat those under eye circles really well. And then I pump out the Prep and Prime and I put it right in with that concealer. And I just kind of fan it out a little bit. And then I'm gonna twist again, do it to the other side. This really helps balance out my under eyes. So again, I use the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge again, and I just pat it out. And then I'm going to go down to my chin, pat that out, and my nose. My makeup always wears off on my nose because I wear glasses. I wear glasses 24/7. Never tried contacts. I feel like I look super weird without my glasses, so. Pat that out one more time. Make sure I got my inner corners really well. All right, so that step is done. Next, we're going to set that under eye concealer that we just put on with Bare Minerals. Let's try that again. With Bare Minerals concealer in Well Rested. It's just their regular concealer. I just pat it under my eyes. And I kind of bring it down a little bit so that it doesn't look like I just have like a stripe under my eye. And then I tap a little bit more on there and I go to my inner eye. The inner corner of my eye. I get all in there. And then I just bring it down a little bit so that I don't have that stripe. Then we go to the other eye. And I just have it in the lid. And I just dab it in and tap it out. It must seem like I do that forever. And so when that is all powdered, I'm going to powder my face. I'm one of those girls, I'm not oily in any way, but I powder my face. I always have, and I probably always will. I don't like having just foundation on with no powder. And when I powder my face, it makes everything else go on better. Like my bronzer and my blush. So I'm just dipping that in. Oh, what I'm using, probably should have checked before I took the lid off. Mary Kay Mineral Powder Foundation in Ivory 1. They do have one lighter than this. I think it's a 0.5, but I don't do Mary Kay. I just bought this from my boyfriend's brother's wife, practically my sister-in-law. She was selling it for a while. Bought it from her, and I actually really like this powder. It's one of the only powders that I've actually used the last couple of months. So just powder your face like normal. I will go down and blend it down my neck when I'm done powdering my face, just to make sure there's no lines. I have to make sure to powder that nose, because if I don't, my foundation will wear off even quicker with my glasses just sitting there. The brush I'm using for this, in case I didn't tell you, is the Morphe E1. It's definitely not necessary, but it's super nice and I really love it. But any powder brush will work for powdering your face. I really love this one though. So I just made sure I get all of it, and then I'm just gonna rub it down. So there's that. And then after that, I go on to my eyebrows. So I am lucky enough to have eyebrows that all I really have to do is run like a gel through it. So I use the Benefit Gimme Brow, the light to medium one. And it's awesome. It's the only thing that I've used since I actually started doing my brows. I did try the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I did try that for a little while, but I have brows, so it always looked kind of funny. Sometimes I'll use it if I like tweeze too much. I'll go in and I'll kind of fill it in a little bit with the Brow Wiz, and then I'll go in with the gel, because you know, sometimes you get a little too tweezer happy. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna comb through with a brow spoolie, that's what you call it. So I'm just going to comb through, get the excess foundation and powder out of my brows. And I have a hair on my face. Do the other one. I'm also really glad that I have brows because then I don't have to take too long doing my brows. There was one time when I did over tweeze and I was using the Anastasia Brow Wiz. It would take me forever to do my brows. So you girls that draw on your eyebrows every day, kudos to you, because I couldn't do it. I could not do it every day. So I just take the brow gel and I run it through. It's super simple, super easy. There's nothing, I mean, you can't really go wrong doing this unless you put too much, which when I first got this, when you first get a new one of these, it's kind of hard not to put too much at first because there's so much on your brush. But once you get that little bit out, it's super, super easy. Can you still see me? Okay, you can. And on to the other side. That's how easy that is. Do they look even? Look even enough for me. All right, so that is that step. So next step I do is bronzer. What I'm using, so I got this brush as part of the Divergent kit that came with all of those shadows and the lip glosses and stuff. So I don't know if you can actually like get this on its own, but that's where I got this and I love this. This is what I use for bronzer every day. So I just take my bronzer and I don't really contour. Every now and then I'll contour, but on a daily basis I do not. So I just put my bronzer in and go around my cheekbone and just bring it in. I try not to bring it in too far because I don't want it to go straight to my mouth. So there's that side. Nothing too crazy. Oh, and the bronzer I'm using, NARS Laguna. It's one of the only ones that isn't like too dark and too crazy on me, so go right into that cheekbone area, right underneath. You want to make sure you go all the way up to your hairline, like all the way up here. And you want to go from the corner of from the top of your ear right here to the corner of your mouth where you would contour, but you just kind of, you know, blend it out a little better. So there's that. And then I also go on my forehead. I do have a little forehead, but if I don't do a little bit of bronzing on my forehead, then I kind of look like washed out a little bit, especially if I don't do bronzer. I'm on my cheekbones. It does the same thing. So I put a little bit, but I put it like right at my hairline. Like I don't go down very far at all. So I just take it right at my hairline. And then I blend it out. And I don't do too much. You don't want a bronzer helmet, so I blend it out pretty well. I think I need just a little bit more on the other side. All right. So just to add a little bit of color to my face, because I am white enough already, I always need to add color. So what I use for my blush is the Becca Rose Gold Shimmering Skin Perfector. I am very pale, which I've probably said a million times throughout this whole video. I'm pretty pale, so some stuff just doesn't work on me. I really love this Rose Gold, let's try that one more time. This Rose Gold Shimmering Skin Perfector, because it's like a glow from within kind of blush. I've learned that things that have a little bit of glimmer look better on me because of my fair complexion, so that's what I go with. So I use a F35 Sigma tapered highlighter brush to do my blush. I don't know why I started using this. I just think I picked it up one day and it worked for me, so that's what I use. So how I do my blush, I'm gonna close that so I don't spill it all over the floor, because mine I dropped and it broke. So I've been using like the last little bit out of there. I'm gonna have to buy a new one, but it made me very sad. So I'm gonna close that so I don't spill the last little bit that I have. So how I do my blush is I start from the very back of my face and I kind of feather it in. I kind of, there's more on the outside than the inside, so I blend it in. So I take it like this and I go way back here, and then I just kind of slowly bring it forward. And then I go in just a little bit bigger of a circle, or I guess it would be an oval, like that. Because I feel like it looks better when I have more towards the outside of my face, because I feel like when I put more on the inside of my cheek, on the inside of my face, on the very apples of my cheek, that my face looks a lot rounder. So once I started doing it from the outside, it looked a lot better. A lot of people start from the apples and work their way out. I start from out and work my way in. So I'm just gonna do the same thing to the other side. Dipping that back in. Make sure to close that back up. I hope I don't have too much on my brush. Let's tap that out a little bit more. There we go. All right, bring that hair back. Start on the back, and then I work my way forward. And then I make a bigger circle. It always looks crazy on camera when I do this, but I swear in real life, it does not look that bright. So there's that. So that's how I do my blush. And my next is highlighting. So if you're new to highlighting at all, you don't have to do what I do. You really should just do the high points of your cheeks. I watched Wayne Goss's video, and he's amazing. I really love watching his videos. But he did this halo effect, and I've really been loving it. It's been making my face feel a lot brighter. So that's what I do. It pretty much just looks like you put highlight all over your cheeks. That's pretty much what it looks like. But I really love it. And it looks fine on me because I'm not oily in any way. So I've been doing this, and I'm using Becca's Champagne Pop, the Jaclyn Hill highlighter. She's my favorite YouTuber ever, and I was so excited to get this. Just dip it in, swirl. I put a little bit more on my cheekbone than I do on the inside of my face. Highlighted. I do put a little bit on my forehead, a little bit down my nose, a little bit on my chin. All right, so that is done. So the next thing I do is I curl my eyelashes. I thought I was all prepared. Curl my eyelashes and do my mascara. Curling eyelashes is probably one of the scariest things ever. And then I do my mascara. My mascara that I use that is my favorite is the L'Oreal Telescopic. But that is all for mascara. And I'm pretty much done. I don't really do much to my lips on an everyday basis. I don't do anything to my eyes really or my lips. I do take the foundation off of my lips, however. At the end, I spray with a setting spray. This is the Scandinavia finishing spray, the bridal one, because I like my makeup to stay. If I'm gonna do my makeup, I want it to stay on my face after it's done and not go anywhere. And it pretty much does with this. So I just spray it. Again, I probably spray too much, but you know. Yep. And then you just wait for that to dry. Then I put on my glasses. Oh, they're fogged. Hallelujah, I can see again. But that's pretty much it. That is how I do my makeup for every day.